Minnetonka Audio Software's audio workflow engine contains internal DSP and editing functions that let you perform common tasks on large groups of files. In this demonstration, we'll go through each native processor and explain how they work. First, we have the concatenate processor. Concatenate allows you to paste audio from a single file to the head or tail of all input files in the job. This is useful for adding test tones, 2-pops, or click tracks to files. To use concatenate, I select a source file from my disk by hitting the Browse button. This source file will be added to every file in the job at the head or tail. There is also a feature that allows you to apply a mono source file to all channels in input files. This is handy if more than one type of multi-channel file is in the job and you wish to concatenate the same data to all channels. I can enable a linear or logarithmic crossfade to deglitch the edit point. The cut processor allows you to remove a portion of audio from anywhere in the input files. You specify an in point and an out point, and any audio between those 2 points will be deleted from the files. You can enter these times in a number of ways. You can enter text, or use the sliders, or if you'd like to set the times by ear, you can play back an audio file and hit the set buttons to set in and out points at the current playback time. Note that all time displays in Batch Pro use the current timecode format from the transport panel as the time basis. And again, I can specify a crossfade for the edit point. Fade-in performs a fade at the head of the files for the specified time. You can perform a linear or a logarithmic fade. Similarly, a fade-out is applied for the specified time from the end of all files. Insert silence pastes a period of silence to either the head or tail of source files. It provides a crossfade at the edit points. The mute processor mutes all audio within the in and out points. Normalize changes the volume of all source files so that the peak level is limited to the specified dB. Batch Pro can analyze each file for a peak level and then apply the gain change on a file-by-file basis, or analyze the entire job for peak level and change the gain of each file accordingly. You can find out the current peak level of any source file or the entire job by using the scan function. I can drop a sample rate converter processor anywhere in the chain. This is helpful if I want to upsample before doing any DSP. In a moment, we'll explain how you specify sample rate as part of the output options for a job. The trim time processor cuts a specified amount of time from the head or tail of all source files, again allowing you to specify crossfade. The volume processor performs a simple gain change to all source files. Finally, the device I/O processor provides access to external analog or digital gear through any core audio device. You select a send device, and then select the channels of the send device you wish to route audio out of. Then you select the return device and the return channels. Batch Pro will now route audio from the point in the chain where the device I/O resides through the external gear. This means you can apply VST or native processors before the external gear, and then continue processing with plugins once the audio is returned from the external gear. Since routing audio through I/O cards introduces latency, AWE lets you set a delay compensation value. With some experimentation based on your system configuration, you can easily produce output files the exact same length as the input files. AWE's output format lets me select the audio format of all my output files. Here, I can change the file type, the sample rate, and the bit depth of all my output files. If I choose to preserve any of these, then the properties of my input files will be carried through to my output files. For instance, if I have a mixture of WAV and AIFF files for input, they'll produce the same WAV or AIFF files on output. Or I can tell it to produce all WAV or all AIFF on output. Similarly, if I select Preserve Sample Rate, then the sample rate of all my input files will be carried through to output. Or I can choose to set all of my output sample rates to a single sample rate. Bit depth works the same way and provides me with either no dither or triangular dither.